Mic check, life check. With Haley Jensen. Welcome back. Oh my goodness, this week's been fun. First off, we had Dancing with the Stars premiere on Monday. I've danced my entire life. I have watched this show religiously over the years, and I really do wish they still did it twice a year, but unfortunately, that is not the case. It is just once a year. But, of course, this season is stacked. I have been very impressed with the selected people, and people like to joke all the time that it's not even Dancing with the Stars, because a lot of these people you have to jump through hoops to even kind of determine who's who or who's who and who they are in general. But I would say for the most part, they pick some very good characters, people, individuals. So I was looking forward to premiere night. And so I, of course, watched it at the same time everyone else did and was a very harsh critic, which we'll get into that in a little bit because there's been a lot of backlash in the viewers being critics while watching. But going into it and breaking down the celebrities and who's who and all that. First up, Jen Affleck from Mom Talk. Obviously, going into Dancing with the Stars, we knew there was going to be two of them. Well, the way that they announced on the reunion show of Secret Lives of Mormon Wives was very drama-inducing because they had announced Jen first, but then and it was made very clear that Witney had this dream her entire life, and that Witney came off like very just supportive of Jen when that was the announcement, and that she was sad about it and saying the words of, oh, like, there'll be next time, blah, 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 in the future. But then they revealed that she would also be on the show, which most people's opinion, as well as I agree with the opinion, is that it's just increasing the views for network. And I understand it. I understand the ratings and all that, but I wish they would stop with the double casts from the same shows. Like, I always reference the Heidi D'Amelio and Charlie D'Amelio. With that one, I feel like it was a little bit more acceptable because it's like, one, they were family, and two, Charlie was still pretty young. She wasn't the youngest that they had on the show, but I don't know. I mean, she could have definitely done it by herself. But anyway, so with Jen and Witney, I think it was a little silly. I think it should have been maybe just Witney, especially the fact that Jen just had a baby. That's kind of crazy. But I'm not in charge, so I can complain all I want. But yeah, so going off of performance now, Jen Affleck is obviously, she just had a baby, so I'll give her that grace. But the problem is entering Dancing with the Stars competition, you're being judged. Like, you're signing up to be judged. That's the point of the show. It's the point of the game. And so that's the only grace I'll give up front. But going into it, like, yeah, you can be like, well, she just had a baby. Okay, cool. Then maybe don't go on Dancing with the Stars. But she was very stiff, and I saw a lot of comments and TikToks just saying that, oh, like, she's proud Latina, and like she had mentioned that, and that her hips did not move, like, kind of thing. And yeah, so I'm sure it's hard just having a baby. I have also recovered from having a baby, so I understand that. And yeah, I don't think I'd be able to do it. I don't necessarily know if I'd choose to do it, but that's something I don't think I'll ever cross in my life. So we're okay there. But she was very stiff. And I mean, even having had a baby, like, assuming she was in a good spot, like, recovery wise, I mean, she could be a little looser, I would imagine, and more in tune with I don't know, it could be nerves as well, I'd say. But anyway, so her pairing with Jan, who is the guy from the Eras tour, the ladder guy, because he would seductively dance with the ladder as one of the parts of in the tour. He is very good looking. I would say his voice is the biggest, like, shock when you hear him talk, because it does not seem like it would match what he looks like. But props to him. Obviously, it's a new adventure because he is a first-time pro for this season. He's never been on Dancing with the Stars before. I'm not sure. I'm very curious how he approached choreographing for Jen and Jen. And just because of, obviously, her postpartumness, they threw lift after lift after lift. and it was not a lot of dancing, which Bruno and Derek had very much implied. Oh wait, they were first up. No, they weren't. No, they weren't. Sorry. I was thinking they were up. No, it was Jordan that was up first. But they were kind of alluding, I think, still when Jen and Jan were going, that scores were going to be lower or something like that. But then that rule book kind of got tossed out by the end, and we'll get to that. But yeah, overall, do I see Jen making it very far? I honestly don't. I think she talks a big game. She's good at dancing on her countertop. I think that's a very good vibe for her, and I would guess that she's very uncomfortable for right now, and who knows, that probably will change week to week. I think that it will take time for them, I guess, to be more comfortable with one another. I'm curious how Jan's choreography changes going forward, especially with the feedback on lifts. And speaking of lifts, Carrie Ann was not there, which was the biggest, funniest thing when they started the opening number of the premiere night, because I was like, where's Carrie Ann? Did she get fired finally? I was just talking to my husband about this. And because year after year, Carrie Ann sticks her foot in her mouth, or she does something inappropriate, or she praises certain individuals and not other ones. And so I wouldn't have been that surprised if she did get fired. However, she did not. She apparently was just sick and had to miss the premiere. So that's kind of unfortunate. But we'll see how it goes forward. I was surprised that Mark Ballas was back as well, because he was a guest judge last year and he made an excellent judge. I'm glad that he's happy and back dancing, because that was something that was brought up when he had come back for Charlie D'Amelio, and that he had kind of fell out of love with dancing. And so obviously I'm glad he's good and things are good. I think it's kind of a little weird to have 3 guy judges, yes, but they also would be good. So I wouldn't mind the replacement of Carrie Ann with Mark Ballas, but he's dancing this season, so that's not going to happen. But anyway, going forward, Hilaria Baldwin. I had always heard kind of who she is, not super familiar with her, just kind of minorly knowing of who she is. She's with Gleb, so everyone joked, though, that was Gleb's punishment, that he had to be paired with her. She's putting in a good effort, for sure. As most everyone's saying, I don't think she'll get the votes. I agree with that, going to make it too far into the competition, but I think she'll put up a good fight. So she has some ballroom experience herself, and she did well. Better than Jen, in my opinion, but that's my opinion. So going forward with Jordan Chiles. With Ezra. So the funny thing there, of course, being that Ezra initially was paired with Anna Delvey, right? And then I swear there was another season. Maybe not. Maybe I'm going crazy. But anyway, so he now has a very qualified partner that wants to be there and work hard. So I think we're going to see a lot of improvement from them. There was a lot of internet controversy regarding Ezra himself, because apparently he was coming on too strongly to all the guys or whatever, and people were thinking that it was very unprofessional and he's just joking around too much, which Ezra, I think, did address those rumors, comments, and saying that he did ask for permission from all the guys whenever creating TikToks, or saying that he's going to do something that might, from a outside perspective, look inappropriate, but in reality it was pretty much signed off on and things were fine. That's okay. I think it's fine to joke around a little bit. I think it's made the show a lot more entertaining TikTok-wise, with the little trends and seeing the personalities. It's made it a lot more entertaining backstage. I think he knows when it's go time and the music's playing, that's when they are going to be judged. And I would say for him to be a little more careful, obviously, because even if something's signed off on, to how aggressively he might be filming TikTok or doing something, it might catch up to him in the end, so I would definitely be careful. I do enjoy watching Ezra and all of his endeavors and little things and jokes and performance skills and reactions. I think he's a very funny guy, and I think he'll be fine especially going forward, because there has been a little bit of a controversy, and he is a newer pro, and although him and Rylee obviously brought the younger age group in the audience, he just needs to make sure to not go too far, because obviously the producers can change their mind for who they want for pros in the future. So, and I think the saddest thing is his sister. I just forgot her name. That's okay. But it was Sosa. What is her name? I forgot. But she was not even called back for troop. So that just goes to show, like, especially with all this, just be extra careful because you never know. And so, yeah. So that was Ezra. Oh, and Jordan. I didn't even really talk about their dance. So they were the first ones up. Jordan was, if Jen was stiff, Jordan was a rock. She was so stiff. Like, and one of the opening moves just showed that immensely, like, because it was a fall leg lift thing. And her legs were just frozen. Anyway, I'm sure a lot of this was nerves. I will not judge too harshly, even though I have every right, every right to as a viewer. But it'll be very interesting week 2, how a lot of them kind of relax into how things kind of go, because they've done it for a week now, or week plus. So going forward, Baron Davis, Britt Stewart, they were a wild card in my opinion. Everyone kind of had the pre-notions, which I mentioned before, that Britt and Emma had always been the receiving end of maybe the fuddy-duddy characters, or the not so athletically inclined or older gentlemen. That's usually what they get dealt. And so kind of assumed that a little bit with the NBA point guard Baron Davis, and he was a wild card because he came out and he put on a good show. He had rhythm. It was impressive. I am excited to see how he goes forward. I don't think he will go very far vote-wise, but I think that it will be a good effort and entertainment overall. So I'm excited for him. I would have put him on my top 5, to be honest, or even somebody that I would vote for. But, and maybe I'll do a top 5 at the end of this for who my favorites are. But yeah, very impressed. I think Britt was so cute. I absolutely love watching her. She is the sweetest energy. And as people were commenting, because obviously she married her past partner, I forgot their name right now, and that's okay. But with doing the not ACL, ASL sign language, every time that they're encouraging people to vote, I think it's so cute. So continuing forward, Alix, Earle, and Val. Alix surprised me because I feel like a large part of the world kind of want to target her maybe as a mean girl, not a mean girl, but like very privileged, just blonde and boobs, you know. However, I really respected the way she approached Dancing with the Stars in rehearsal, with performance. She was very talented, and like she gave it such a good effort. And she did mention in the pre-tape package that she did have dance experience growing up, so that definitely gave her a little bit of an edge. I genuinely enjoyed her performance, and I think she'll go pretty far, and she definitely will have votes too. So I am very excited to see how she does week to week. I think the first performance she gave was very impressive, so I'm excited to see how she goes going forward. And yeah, the choreography was great. Love Val as always. Dylan, Efron, and Danielle. I love Danielle's choreography, as everyone else does, every single season. And I was very intrigued at this pairing because he came out very strong with the milkshake song, and very split opinions, I'd say, in the population, because I thought he did really good. He gave it such a good effort. Whether or not he was perfect, kind of irrelevant because it is the first week. However, I thought he had great performance, like, ability. And so going forward, I think that's going to be very beneficial, especially because he probably did have nerves, even though ironically his song choice and everything he was putting forward was an attempt to put it all out there. Pretty much that's what he was saying. So of course I will always vote for them to go far because I absolutely love Danielle's choreography. She is incredible. Okay, going forward, Corey Feldman and Jenna Johnson. I was honestly writing them off a little bit. Corey, especially because I just saw him as one of kind of the fuddy-duddy, like, nothing too crazy, just will kind of go along dancing with the music as best as he can and kind of go through the season. But he had so much energy and emotion, and I enjoyed their performance. And yeah, just a lot of underdogs this season, I'd say, that very surprised me. And I think there was only like one or two overall where you just know they're going to be probably eliminated next week or the next couple of weeks. And I think that he might be able to hold on a tiny bit longer than most people would think. So pretty impressed with that. And obviously Jenna Johnson had just won with The Bachelor. I always forget his name, people's names when I'm podcasting. What's his name? I don't want to Google it, but I'm going to have to. So obviously Jenna Johnson just won with Joey Grazade. And so it's funny because the producers kind of naturally, once they win, they have to be paired with somebody else that's maybe not have a bigger chance of winning. So that's her pairing, which is totally fine. And she's making the best of it, you know? Like, it's a blessing to be considered and chosen as a pro. So they're obviously going to put their best effort in no matter what. You never know. Voting can go multiple different ways, especially if you win the Heart of America one way or another. So we've seen that in the past with some of the older gentlemen. And so, yeah, you never know. Going forward, we have Danielle Fishel from Boy Meets World. So I'm 26. I did not grow up watching Boy Meets World or Girl Meets World. I did not have really cable. It was my parents' choice. But anyway, I didn't really know much of her. But then like the last couple of years, I've slowly, based like just through TikToks and stuff, come to realize who she was and whatever. But I think she's a little sweetheart, as everyone does. I think she's America's girlfriend, so to speak. That's what they were saying. And she's really cute. I thought she gave it a very good effort. I don't think she'll make it very far. I don't know. I think she did very good with Pasha. And yeah, there's not much more to tell there. She has a nice stage presence, but it's not like a fighting chance, I would say, to make it super far. But we'll see. I feel like she'll probably make it halfway about in the competition. But overall, I enjoyed her performance. I think she's so cute on stage, but it's not uberly competitive. So going forward, Miss Elaine Hendricks with Alan from the Parent Trap. Miss whatever her name is. Once again, I did not watch a lot of these things growing up, but I have watched The Parent Trap like twice now in the last 2-3 years. I think she's so talented. She's just a cute little Broadway looking performing gal. And so I think she shocked the Dancing with the Stars watchers because I don't think anyone really expected that, to be honest. But she was saying in the package before that was rolling that she was a dancer growing up, but then she had got injured because she was very frankly, she said, I was hit by a car. And there wasn't a lot of follow-up with that. It kind of made me laugh. I rewatched the episode twice. And every time I was like, and I was hit by a car. Anyway, so yeah, I think she's another one that is America's sweetheart. I think she'll last maybe a little bit past the middle of the season. So I very much enjoyed her effort though, and she's very strong in her movements. So definitely think she has a lot going for her. Let's see. Okay, so then next was Scott Hoying, who is from Pentatonics. He's one of the singers, the male singers, with Rylee Arnold. So obviously Rylee has been paired with many different characters. Obviously she was with Harry Jowsey first season, and that was its whole bundle of gossip because obviously everyone was trying to pair her as the youngest female young adult love interest, supposedly potential, with Harry. Harry was basically a tree. He could not dance very well, and she would dance around him. So, and then fast forward then to Steven, who obviously was very athletically talented, and they were very cute, nerdy. Obviously, he had a girlfriend, and I think she had a boyfriend at that time too. But anyway, so then they did not win, but they did finish in the top 4 or 2 or something like that. Anyway, so it was very much a toss-up for going into this season, because a lot of people were trying to determine like pairings, because they had announced certain of the celebrities or Dance with the stars, and so anyway, a lot of people were wanting Robert Irwin to be paired with her because like of the love match concept. But like it was said, Rylee's dating and has a boyfriend. And then I think the audience just needed something different for sure, because it was just getting old. Like, it was nice that Rylee and Ezra and whoever else brought like the young, fresh eyes to the season and show, but it's like, we can't do that for another season of watching Rylee with a potential love interest. So I'm very happy that she got someone that has the ability, the athletic talent, the theatricality to bring something to the ballroom and be able to put a great performance on. So I'm very intrigued how far they go. I think that Scott definitely has that theatricality down. And as for the talent and what follows in the ballroom, I think that he has every ability and athleticness to be able to bring that to the stage. But depending on choreography, I will say, is going to be a big factor. So right now we're going to take a little pause because, as I mentioned from the beginning, there was a little bit of controversy and conflict after the premiere that a lot of people were taking to social media and TikTok saying that they were giving a lot of backlash regarding some of the pros in the choreography, that some of the pros choreography was like really bad or it wasn't very impressive or something or whatever. And so the past pro, Lindsay Arnold, she apparently made a video. I saw a little clip of it, just complaining and saying, well, you do it, because us as America and the audience were critiquing so hard to these pros that are in charge of creating the dances and whatever. And as a dancer and performer of 18 plus years growing up, I understand that because I'd choreographed a couple things, and it is very tricky and hard, and even more so when you're working with some people and individuals that haven't danced a day in their life. That is very tricky. I would say that the defensiveness was very uncalled for because that's the show. It's a competition, right? And that's what a lot of the comments were saying as well. And I do agree with that. I think if it's like straight up just hating on the individual, that's obviously not okay. But it was more critique, like criticism, right to judge of just watching the show for the competition show that it is. And so I'm sure maybe the issue is there was probably comments made that whether it was Lindsay Arnold or the other pros that were taking offense to this, that were seeing that were maybe more aggressive hate comments and speech or whatever. And that's just kind of part of the game, you know, like you don't have to absorb it, but just move on, you know. Obviously, the people that usually post miserable comments tend to be miserable because they're needing to do that to be fulfilled in life, apparently. And so I thought it was a very intense overcorrection, I would say, the way that she came off in her TikTok, but it's what it is. And obviously, like, she's doing her own thing now because she used to be a pro for many seasons. And so, but I think a lot of the people were just trying to get at that she was trying to protect Rylee, her sister. And because I think that's been shown the past couple seasons as well, like there was a couple dances that were exactly like, air quote, word for word dance choreography part, whatever for part, because there was, I think it was the Toy Story dance a couple seasons ago with Harry Jowsey, where people would put the two videos side by side. It was the exact same choreography that Rylee did, that her sister did, and like repeating themes and choreography and even some steps, like that's gonna happen. But it was just like side by side, like almost exact. And that's just a little laziness in the department for Rylee. And like, I get at the time she was a new pro, and like, of course, talking to her sisters, that's not illegal, and obviously trying to get some insight. But when it was side by side, the exact same, it's just, yeah, I think that's okay to judge that a little bit. And so I think going forward the next couple of weeks is going to be really interesting to see how the pros adjust. And like with all things social media, it's what it is. Like, you're going to see how people feel within seconds, within minutes after you get off stage, because people are making videos that fast and having their opinions, of course. And so it's just naturally what's going to happen, and they can choose to absorb that, or they can move on and or use it to their advantage. Especially like one thing that I haven't brought up yet, but Emma's partner, Andy Richter, who apparently, from what I understand, played Mort from Madagascar and can do the high voice for that. The world loves that, for one, the voice. There's been TikToks for years, and all of a sudden it's like, oh, he's the guy that did that. And so now he's making TikToks, and everyone's like, wait, no, keep doing this, because this is what's going to get you votes. So assuming that people are listening, they're going to do that, you know? But anyway, so as for the actual choreography part, obviously that takes time. Like, I know they're on a time crunch when it comes to choreographing and everything in between, but yeah, I think week to week we're going to see how people, they don't have to take the advice, the critiques, the criticism even, but it might be beneficial based on the fact that that's how they're going to get votes. Like, if you're going to put up this strong arm of opinion, or, oh, you hurt my feelings, then I mean, a lot of people, they're going to keep coming at you for it, because they're going to be like, oh, wow, look at that. She's going to cry about it, you know? So I think it's going to be interesting going forward, but that was the quick pause. We will jump back into the who's who. That just reminded me, though, because it was Rylee, Arnold's partner with Scott. So moving forward, Lauren from Fifth Harmony with Brandon Armstrong. There was a lot of just discussion in regards to who she was, what people knew about her going into before the premiere, and just that she wasn't going to be like an ideal pick or something like that. There's been other members of Fifth Harmony before, but I think people just had an issue with her, because I don't know if it was her attitude or something. But anyway, I think she gave it a good effort. Nothing insanely crazy. So once again, another middle or before, or maybe even sooner than later, I feel like it's going to be a drop off. But I think that it will be, I don't know, you never know week to week. Sometimes it's just nerves the first week. So I'm excited for this week, though. Tomorrow, sorry, I was filming on Sunday. It ended up being a little later than I expected this week, because I had a lot of things going on. But anyway, so that was Lauren from Fifth Harmony with Brandon. Okay, Whitney Levitt with Mark Ballas. I have so too many comments and thoughts regarding the performance. So the entire world was obsessed with Whitney's performance with Golden K-pop Demon Hunters with Mark Ballas. Of course, Mark Ballas is amazing. I watched it not once, not twice, but 3 times in a row, because everyone's reactions, the judge scores, which Bruno made a oopsie daisy accident issue with plugging in his score. He gave Whitney a 8. Derek had given her 7, but then Bruno had held up the paddle for a 7. And so then Julianne Hough was like, oh, actually, we got word that he put an 8, so that's what they stand by, is the scores that they input. So that was a whole thing for one. Very messy, very unprofessional. Like, obviously, like, if he meant to do a 7, they should stand by that, but I know they have their specific rules, and that's how they do it, but whatever. That's not my job. But the actual dancing, everyone was just jaw dropped and just overly, oh my gosh, she did so amazing, blah, 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 blah. Obviously, coming from my humble opinion and what I saw and what I've seen over the years of Dancing with the Stars and the ability and the talent, she didn't do anything that crazy, to be honest. Yes, she's very strong and firm in her movements, but she doesn't bring like an abundance of personality or theatricality or movement and fluidity or whatever. She's just very strong and very high kick and stuff. And like, that's like Dallas Cowboys cheerleader stuff. I mean, well, with the kicking part, but I just was not that impressed. And like, this is not coming from a I hate Witney stance or anything. I just was very confused as well because the camera work for Witney's dance alone was so drastically different than the rest of the camera work. And I understand, like, depending on the choreography, that's what they're going to base the camera work around. But it literally looks like almost like a drone, which maybe it was, but they were flying around, and to me, it really just came off as more like hairography or like smoke and mirrors, where the type of movement of the camera made it look more intense and emotional and whatever, and like doing the work that to make the dancer look abundantly more impressive than just a standstill camera kind of thing. And even though the other filming angles for the other performers, dancers, whatever, they're all each differently, that one was just like a slap in the face different for me. And that's what I just noticed even the first watch there. I was like, why are they trying so hard to make her look so impressive? And quite honestly, I think it definitely just comes off to me that based on having watched both shows, Secret Lives of Mormon Wives and Dancing with the Stars, and the deal, like just the goals of the networks for ratings and reviews of her having been past a villain, her doing this arc on social media after the most recent seasons of her becoming a favorite, and her just like a just absolute like different story, changing story for her. I think they're definitely playing into it based on what I saw. I just don't think she was that incredible, that the way that people have been reacting on social media or whatever. And like, you can look at it and be like, well, Haley, like obviously your eyeballs are screwed up because everyone else thought she was amazing. That's okay. This is just my opinion. And obviously Mark Ballas's choreography is incredible. And I do praise their performance and the fact that the choreography is very true to ballroom. It was not smoke and mirrors in that way. It was very firm in ballroom. And that's okay. It can hurt you sometimes as well as help you. But yeah, it was just very weird to me. And so I'm very intrigued to see going forward if my opinion changes. And I get that she is so gung-ho, and like, I just hated that scoring snafu too, like, because her and Robert Irwin, which we'll get into in a second here, they ended up tying, but without that score snafu, Robert wouldn't have tied with her. He would have been on top. So I think it will be very interesting going forward to see how people's opinions change week to week, and I'll report back on that, I'm sure. But besides Witney, the last two people I have to report on here is Andy Richter, which we mentioned with Emma Slater, and I mentioned the whole Mort voice thing. But overall, his performance, he has so much just energy and emotion in his face, and yes, the talent is not remotely similar to some of these other stars, but he has the heart and the passion, and that's usually what matters most with this competition, because yeah, it's not an even playing field. Like, you have some people that have had dance experience and he's definitely not going to, supposedly, I mean, maybe he does, but from what I understand, he does not. And so I think that going forward, like, obviously votes will be dictated by things like that, but I don't think it'll last very long. But that's okay, because like, he has all the heart and spirit, and that's what sometimes matters, even with scoring. Like, obviously the talent and the form needs to be there a little bit, but you can win over a judge in a performance just by emotion alone. So if he can keep with that and use it to his advantage, then he might stay a little bit longer than we all think. But saving best for last, literally my review and in the show, Robert Irwin. Incredible. Obviously, his sister Bindi won Dancing with the Stars years back. He had some big shoes to fill. He has already had big shoes to fill with the sad passing of his father, but he came out blazing. That one, my eyeballs were cracked, because the way that everyone reacted to Witney, if they even thought that Witney did better than Robert, for me, there was no comparison. Robert had all the energy, like even the lip syncing, people were commenting later, like that type of energy and love performing and lack of nerves in the ballroom does not come for weeks, where the star is so comfortable where they're lip syncing. Like, his performance quality is impeccable, and it shocked me to my core. So my husband, actually, when I was talking to him about watching Dancing with the Stars, and like even as we were watching it play, he's like, oh, I'm excited for Robert, he's gonna win, like he's my guest. And I even said, probably not. I don't think that he had a ton of dance experience while he was running around Australia Zoo. I was so wrong. He had the most impeccable performance. Pointed feet, pointed, like straight legs, pointed feet. Insane. And even he did like a forward kind of toe touch over Witney Carson. And even on that, like in the heat of the moment, I understand you can have like an energy surge, but the just professionalism and just technique was impeccable. And I think he's gonna win. I don't really have a doubt that he's gonna win. Like, he is, the way that Joey Grasday and Jenna Johnson came out guns blazing last season and they ended up winning, that they had that type of energy and just like heart and love. But just Robert, Irwin, and Witney, there's no doubt in my mind that they're gonna win. There's no doubt. Obviously, people want to say that Witney from and Mark Ballas are going to give them a run for their money. That's okay. It's just, she doesn't have that type of energy. It doesn't come natural to her. She has the firmness and confidence and sharpness, but not the love. And the love only comes from Robert. So I think they're going to win. I'm excited. I'm so excited for tomorrow's performance premiere. I guess premiere is not it because I'm excited for tomorrow's show. And yeah, we'll see how it goes. I think the theme is one hit wonders. So the songs like the Macarena and stuff like that, where the band or the group, like that's their one hit wonders. That's going to be the theme. So I'm excited. I heard that there's going to be a Wicked night. So I'm very excited for that as well. I'm not sure I think it's a couple weeks away though. So it's going to be a minute. But overall, 10 out of 10. I did enjoy all of these stars chosen. I don't think anyone was a complete dud or anything, so that's nice. And yeah, I think there's gonna be just even more gossip because the ratings, like, yes, they chose the people they wanted for the ratings, whether it's the people or not, but there's a lot of eyes on Dancing with the Stars regardless, and a lot of opinions. So I will continue to share mine because I can. So going forward, the other things that happened this week are smoke detectors. Like, 2 of them went out, so we got to replace those after realizing that we didn't have the batteries for it. Thank you, Amazon Prime. We got to deal with that. Mundane things, I know. And then also I don't think I did anything crazy on Monday, but on Tuesday, I went to the Thanksgiving Point, what's it called? Curiosity Farms with my mom and my toddler, which was really fun because they do a $5 Tuesdays in September. All the Tuesdays in September are just $5 for their little exhibit. So it's a nice little cheaper shindig fun thing event to do with your toddlers. And then my mom happened to be around. So we did that. That was really fun. There was so many animals. There was cows, goats, sheep. I think they had llamas and alpacas and ducks and roosters and everything else farm animal-ish. And yeah, my toddler loved it. I enjoyed it too. It was a good time. And that was, I think, the crazy thing they did. It was funny, when you go there, you can buy like feed, like little pellets or whatever to give the animals. But when we were walking and like, we didn't really do that because my toddler is kind of crazy and he probably would just throw it all around and not give it to the kids like easily or well enough. But anyway, so as we were walking around, the employees were doing their morning tasks or whatever. And so they're like, hey, do you want to feed the animals? And they're holding like this big, like, grassy clump. Anyway, it was wheatgrass. And so they give it to us and I'm like, sure. So it was kind of fun though, because the animals were a big fan of the wheatgrass, and I feel like they're on a better diet than I am, which I definitely need to improve my diet, but I don't know if I'll be eating wheatgrass anytime soon. But so that was really fun. And then after that, we went back. Oh, my toddler rode a pony for the first time. that was very fun. He absolutely loved it, and it was so cute to see, especially because feel like around the house, I'll like run around with him and be like, da, 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 which is like the running song from the, I don't remember, famous movie though. And anyway, so I was like singing that song when he was on the actual horse, and he's loving it. So that was super fun. And yeah, I think I don't know. I've considered getting a past Thanksgiving point, but I'm good maybe with the once a year visits, because I don't know. I feel like if I went all the time, I just get burnt out. But anyway, it was a good time. So the other thing we did was we have some friends that invited us to go to the David Archuleta concert, which was super fun. I had never been to a David Archuleta concert in general, but we went downtown Salt Lake to that. And yeah, it was a good time. He played some new music. He played obviously his old music, and yeah, he's a really great performance quality and stage presence. And I think I don't know that every artist always has that like absolute passion for performing, but he had very good stage presence, and it was very enjoyable to watch. And yeah, I would definitely recommend it to anyone that's an Archie fan, as the OGs call it. I can't say I was an Archie fan, but I enjoyed the performance. But yeah, so it was fun though, because we were able to go backstage after and meet him and just kind of hang out. But it was funny because my husband ended up in the background of one of the of Jesse from Mom Talks video. So that was really funny because he was not expecting that. And so she ended up posting it, and we're like, that's you. So that was kind of funny. And then what else? And then the following day, let's see, I think that was the correct timeline for that. We ended up having some friends over. We did a barbecue where my husband smoked a brisket. It was very large, and it was super good. And friends brought coco flan for dessert. That was so yummy. And yeah, some other yummy things. But so yeah, besides that, the week has been pretty chill this week, which has been a blessing. Nothing too crazy going on, but as for this week, I'm excited because I have my doctor's appointment that I think I mentioned in the past, to go get my hormones checked, because I'm a hot mess. I feel like I have a lot of crazy, weird things going on with my body since having had a child. Gotta love when they do that for you. And as I had mentioned in the past, like just general weight loss has been a little tricky for me right now. Like I said before, I'm not overly just overweight, but I'm just definitely not where I want to be. And so I'm excited for that. I don't think I'll be able to get my blood drawn though for a while, because I contacted them and they said the way that they do it is like 20 something days past your period. And unfortunately, this last bit I've been enjoying going through having been on my period, so that's not been fun. But so I don't know how quickly I'll get these results back, but stay tuned. I've deep dived the consideration of having some sort of PCOS, which I haven't had any issues with fertility, or so to speak. So, but I do know that there is different like tiers and like different types of PCOS. Like there's like 10 plus different kinds. So I'm very intrigued to see how this appointment goes and get a little bit of answers. I feel like the things that I have experienced that I think are just not normal is I get 8 hours of sleep every single night, and I still wake up exhausted, or throughout the day, I feel like I'm always crashing. And then other things, obviously weight loss, that one's a big one. I feel like to a point I have some issues with either just like food hunger, where I feel like I should be full and I want to keep eating, and that's probably part of an issue. Yeah, no, I feel like I've noticed a lot of different things just kind of change since I've had my child, and like being pregnant, because when I was pregnant, I called it, I think I called it something else, but I would relate it to hunger pains. So obviously pregnant women always need snacks. I feel like that's something that's always very well known. But I remember when I was pregnant, I would get these hunger pain things where I would be so miserable and so hungry in a span of like 5 seconds later kind of thing. So like I'd be fine, and then 5 seconds later my body would be like, you are so hungry, you need food right now. And it was to a point where if I didn't have food on me, it got really scary because I would be in so much pain almost. That's why I'd called it a hunger pain, because I just, yeah. Anyway, but because of that, I feel like now that I'm not pregnant anymore, I feel like I get that same sort of hunger pain sometimes, and it's kind of a problem for me because I'm just like, before I was pregnant, if I was hungry, it would start like very soft, be like, hey, you haven't eaten in a little bit or whatever, and then it'd get like worse and worse, right? No. And so that's been weird for me, for one. And then I'm trying to think of any of the other weird things. Thankfully I don't have any like crazy like hair growth or anything. I know that's a PCOS thing. Yeah, so I am excited for my appointment on Tuesday, and hopefully we can get some answers and headed in the right direction. And yeah, I'll report back when that happens, if there's anything to report back. If not, I'll keep it private. Just kidding, doubtful. But yeah, no, I've obviously the whole losing weight thing, the natural next thought is like, oh, she's gonna go on Ozempic. Probably not. I've never been a fan. I don't want to end up with Ozempic face. I don't want to worry about the muscle loss issue. It's honestly been truly horrifying to watch some people and their plastic surgery combined with Ozempic, and I've just seen so many like news articles and celebrities that have been doing that lately. I want to age naturally, yes. I've never gotten Botox or anything. And so maybe my opinion will change maybe 5-10 years down the line, but for the most part, I don't think so. I don't know. We'll see. That's all I have for today. I hope you have a great rest of your week. Please, if you would, take 2 seconds to hit subscribe, share the podcast even. I'd appreciate it so much. And yeah, well, I'll report back. Sorry, there was a lot of Dancing with the Stars, but that was the excitement for this week for me. And I hope you have a great rest of your day, and we'll see you next time. Bye.